Hello everybody, I'm John Self and welcome to Self Perspective, the video version of Ask the Recruiter. Well, the dog days of summer have arrived in Dallas and boy, am I glad I didn't wear a coat and tie today. I just got back from lunch and man, the heat bouncing off the glass windows and radiating up from the sidewalk made it very, very unpleasant outside. So we're going to leave the dog days of summer outside and bring inside some common sense discussion about getting an offer when in the search process and managing that process. So this really is intended for board members and candidates. First of all, if this is the most critical phase of the search, a lot of searches can go off the rails because the offer extension is poorly managed. So here's what I would tell you. First up front, be sure that you disclose your salary range. If you're a governing board, don't keep this information secret because you may end up wasting a lot of time with a great candidate who will never accept what you're offering because they make more. So, in your position prospectus, if you're doing the search yourself, be sure that you tell that candidate and any candidate that you talk to, this is our salary range, and be sure you do it in writing. That's really important. Secondly, we have found that some candidates will tell you what they make, but at the end of the line, they'll sort of say, but I didn't mention this or I didn't mention that. So it's really about $15,000, $20,000 more. I've seen that happen, unfortunately, too often. So put out the salary range. Then, during the course of the interview, 2 or 3 times during the process, the telephone interview, perhaps a Skype interview, and then certainly when they come to visit you, re-verify their total cash compensation for the most current year of employment or their most recent employment. It's really important to get that information because you're basically telegraphing to the candidate, we're not going to play games here. And some candidates view that as part of the negotiation process. They don't think that not being straight about their compensation is really an ethical issue. Now, while I might disagree with them on that issue, it still happens. So try to eliminate some of that gamesmanship from the process. Disclose the salary and then re-verify what each candidate is making. Don't get to the end of the line with a candidate you really like and find out you really can't afford them. When you're ready to make the offer, do it in writing. Get your attorney to draft a 2 or 3 paragraph letter, but put in a signature line for the candidate to sign. Now, that's probably more psychological than anything else, but we find that when a candidate signs something, that really kind of emotionally commits them to your organization. And as a board member, that's what you want. And as a candidate, you want to sign something because you know that really is a legitimate offer and it adds some weight to the whole process. You don't want to let this get too protracted. In other words, manage the process. Don't allow too many delays to come into the picture because if the search process ended up with another really good candidate that you might otherwise hire, letting this offer process drag out over a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, you're probably going to lose that secondary candidate. And then if the first candidate drops out or refuses the offer, you're going to start all over, and that's a lot of wasted time and wasted money. So you want to avoid that. Finally, more and more candidates really are asking for contracts. They're very common in larger hospitals, even in larger public hospitals. In the smaller hospitals, sometimes that's not going to happen. And it may not happen because the board's just not comfortable with that process. Or secondly, if it's a public hospital like a county-owned hospital, the governing legislative body may have a prohibition against contracts. Now, basically a contract in this environment, it will basically confirm your salary and your bonus, if any, and the benefits and when you're going to be paid. But what most candidates are looking for is the prenuptial part, which is what happens if I get fired? How much are you going to pay me? How much time are you going to give me to find another job? So that's when you get to the area of contracts, just understand that dynamic. And finally, when a contract is in play, that's probably going to extend the time frame for a candidate's consideration. If you're just offering a letter for them to sign, 3, 4, 5 days is a very common time frame to expect a decision. When you put in a contract, it can go 10, 12, 15 days. So if you have a secondary candidate, that person's probably not going to be around or will want to stay around that long. So Understand that when you go to the contract route. I hope this information has been helpful. If you have any questions, call me or email me at asktherecruiter@johngself.com. My other contact information is available on our website, johngself.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.